Travel at low cost with points and miles. Credit card rewards bring the smiles. Many adventures, tales to be told. Make and save money, the world will unfold. Fight the war on happiness, pick up the gold. Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast breaks the mold.
You're listening to the Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Vacula, here to help you travel the world at next to no cost with credit card points, miles, benefits, and loyalty programs. Thanks for joining me for today's episode, Chase Sapphire Reserve Changes. Co-host Darren Remsberg joins me to talk about new and upcoming changes to the Chase Sapphire Reserve credit card. Visit meetup.com/Philly miles and points to RSVP for monthly Greater Philadelphia travel credit miles and points meetups I host in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. The next meetups are July 13th and August 24th, 2025. Find a link in the show notes. For more content between podcast episodes, follow Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast on Facebook and X. Follow Justin Vacula on Instagram. Subscribe to Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast on YouTube for daily content, including travel videos, podcast clips, community, and posts. On with today's episode, recorded June 23rd, 2025.
Thanks for having me, Justin. I think the last time we talked, we were going to talk about Amex next. So that's definitely the topic for today, right? We're talking about the new Chase Sapphire Reserve card. New and improved? ?
And it will be a memorable day in miles and points because it is the new launch of the Chase Sapphire Reserve, or the relaunch of the relaunch. People can apply with a new sign-up bonus and a travel credit. So lots of changes now, changes upcoming, changes for existing card holders. We'll talk about all those things today.
So let's maybe just start. If you don't currently have the Chase Sapphire Reserve card, there is a sign-up bonus. Justin, you and I both love a good sign-up bonus. So the sign-up bonus for this card is 100,000 ultimate reward points, 100,000 ultimate rewards, which is the same sign-up bonus as this card launched many years ago. They've now added a $500 Chase travel credit, and all of that and more can be yours for $5,000 spend in 3 months. And the low price of $795 annual fee. But you, like many others, Justin, also have the card already, and there's going to be some changes to the benefits, and there's actually a delay, right, in when those benefits go into play.
We're recording on June 23rd, so that's when this offer has gone live or goes live. The new benefits in the card we'll talk about go live October 26th, 2025. You mentioned this Chase travel credit. It's my understanding that you have to use the Chase travel portal, and it's a one-time use, $500 credit. So if you were to book a flight that would otherwise be $120 in the portal, you'd sacrifice a big deal of this credit. You'd have to use it one time. So if you got a flight for $501 in the travel portal, then you'd get $500 off as a statement credit. The $300 credit is still part of the card. That things like rideshare, tolls, airline incidentals, taxes and fees, that it would be a year-long benefit, a card member year-long benefit. So if you were to book a flight with points, it would charge you $10 or $11 in taxes and fees. Then $10 or $11 would come off that $300, and then other charges eventually would go towards that. It's an accumulation towards it. But I'm pretty sure that this Chase travel credit is tied to the portal, and you have to book a flight with that. This is a lot of new information, so I could be wrong. If people in the comments would like to clarify that, feel free to post below.
Maybe one of those things where we don't fully know until folks get it in their hand and start using it. And we're probably a week or so or more away from that. There were some links that came out today, and folks applying, if the card gets to them later this week and they start using it, maybe you have some travel lined up that they want to book in the portal, they can give us some more insight. And I'm sure, Justin, you'll have some content on that, maybe writing for one of your other areas, Travel Zork or one of those, or you can come to the Philly Miles and Points meetup.
100,000 points. This can be cashed out for $1,250 with the pay yourself back feature, offsetting certain charges. It changes every few months, it seems. Or you can transfer these 100,000 points to transfer partners, including Hyatt, many airline programs. So you're definitely getting more than $1,000 of value from the sign-up bonus, potentially $500 in value from this travel credit, whether tied to the portal or not. So in year one, even with a $795 annual fee just on the sign-up bonus and the $500, I think it's very easy to overcome that. But there are many benefits on the card as well that will come into play for existing cardholders and new applicants. I would think that most listeners would already be Chase Sapphire Reserve cardholders, and I know that many recently upgraded their Chase Sapphire Preferred to the Reserve before June 23rd to be grandfathered in under the old annual fees. They're not having to pay the $795. They're paying the older, lesser annual fee to get many of the benefits. And once again, it's my understanding that the benefits go live October 26th, 2025. And Chase seems to be making it easier or encouraging more signups. There used to be a 48-month rule where if you received a Sapphire welcome bonus, the Sapphire Preferred or Reserve, that you would not be able to get another one in a 48-month period. So it's my understanding that that rule is gone or maybe reduced. What have you seen on that?
That's my understanding as well. Of course, Chase has a lot of rules, right? The 48-month rule, the number of cards you can apply for in a month with Chase, which is no more than, I think, 1 in 30 days. The classic 524 rule. In previous new card launches, some of those rules have not been strictly enforced, I'll say. And so there certainly is some impetus for those folks that are at or above, certainly 524, for example. If they're considering applying, probably earlier is better. Not sure whether it makes sense to try to find a direct head-on link or go through a referral link. If that makes any difference, it's unclear. But I would say if you're at or above 524 and you're not sure if you're going to be able to get it, so probably sooner is better. There certainly seems to be a little less interest in cracking down for the eager beavers in the application process.
Some hope post 524, and maybe if you've already gotten a preferred card, that you can apply for this reserve card. It's a possibility. But one thing for sure with the changes, the $300 travel credit remains. This is what I mentioned: tolls, rideshare, airline incidentals, organic travel, parking. A lot of things can go into this $300 travel credit. So if the annual fee is going up to the $795, the $300 I'd value same as cash or pretty close to it. So effectively a $495 annual fee considering this $300. The 3X travel category is going away. I really don't like this change, part of the war on happiness. I think many people really liked using the Chase Sapphire Reserve as a primary travel card, that when they had travel purchases, they enjoyed getting the 3X UR. I had used this a lot for cruises, especially with gambling charges, that I would be able to gamble in the casino, charge to the room, which charged to the credit card, and I'd get 3X UR. I would also use it for various things like the gratuities, Wi-Fi, other charges on cruise ship. Now we can use other cards, but I think that 3X travel going away is going to hurt the card.
Chase giveth and Chase taketh away. And certainly I know, like you said, in your specific use case, Justin, your 3X travel on a variety of different schemes that you've employed here, the schemes, not scams, of course, cruises for sure, and then some other opportunities in the pairing of Chase and gambling, which maybe we'll get to a bit later on, maybe how to stack some of these Chase benefits and spending time in Las Vegas.
The 3X travel is going away, but the 3X dining is remaining. And I know that many people like using the CSR for dining purchases, so there will be some 3X, but I imagine that the travel category gets a lot more spend than the dining category. And of course, we have many other cards that bonus dining. If people still have Amex Gold cards for 4X, people are using that and many other cards.
Yeah, I think those are opportunities still abound here. It'd be interesting to see whether you could use some of these credits in different ways. Could you parlay some of those into some travel on a cruise?
It's still giving 4x on flights and hotels purchased directly with airlines or hotels. That's, they say in an email, replacing 3x on all travel. Maybe not replacing, but different. I guess they're trying to sell it as a positive change, but we know that's certainly not the case. So if we're still booking a flight, we have to pay some taxes and fees. If we have some hotel charges, then we still get to use it there. But where do cruises fall into that? It's probably not going to qualify for that 4x points. But a little bit of a buff there from 3x to 4x on some charges, but your Easy Pass almost certainly won't code as 3x, and the cruise gambling probably won't code as 3x either. So some shifting there. I'll probably be using the Altitude Reserve credit card. I still have that. You still have that. But unfortunately, that's not open for new applicants. I know the Inc. Preferred, although that has a $95 annual fee, that's 3x travel, but I've product changed my Inc. Preferred to a Chase Inc. Cash, so I won't be getting the 3x travel there.
Those are good reminders of other cards that offer some benefit there over travel generally. And for folks that are still looking to book something, you still get the 8x cash rate booking through the Chase Travel Portal. Again, for folks that are going to maybe cash out points or are looking to book a hotel that maybe is not a points hotel, a boutique hotel, maybe not an SLH or a Mr. or Mrs. Smith hotel. We've done some of that ourselves. We're looking for larger hotel rooms for my family, or Airbnb, Vacasa, things like that. I wonder if you could book some of those through Chase and get that 8x. I don't know that anybody else is offering anything close to that, unless you're buying discounted, say, hotel.com gift cards and using those.
So maybe some opportunity for their people using the Chase Travel Portal, rental cars, maybe walking tours, other experiences, maybe that can come into play. The portal, things are changing where normally with the Chase Sapphire Reserve, you would get 1.5 cents per point in using ultimate rewards. But now I'm seeing up to 2 cents. And some different information. America loves math, of course, but America also loves confusion. I'm reading through October 25th, existing cardholders' points earned will qualify for 1.5 cents per point in the portal. The website Frequent Miler says October 25th, 2027 is the last day to redeem 1.5 on the portal for existing cards. So this seems confusing. Chase is also talking about a points boost feature that for certain bookings that you'll get up to 2 cents, but others will be less than 2 cents. So math and confusion on this one.
Yeah, it's almost like they're trying to set it up so they can, quote unquote, launch it twice. So you have this launch now in June, and then when it relaunches or upgrades for current Chase Sapphire users or holders, again, they get to talk about those benefits again. So it's an interesting strategy. I don't know why else they would delay it that long. Have you heard anything about why they're delaying the implementation of these new benefits, Justin?
I know the annual fee will be going up for existing card holders when the annual fee posts the other time. So maybe you get to use the points under the lesser annual fee, or maybe the up to 2 cents. People will think of that and think they'll get more value out of points. Maybe people will want to wait, but then later find out that they're not going to get the 2 cents. I think I'll be using the portal. I'm just going to be transferring UR to travel partners like Hyatt and airlines for international travel. So I won't be gambling this time with up to 2 cents in the portal.
Yeah, I think the portal really, I'm sure there are uses for folks in the travel hobby and, again, hotels or other things in which we may not have points available. But I remember when a friend of mine from work was getting married and she and her husband wanted to go to Hawaii for their honeymoon. And this Chase Sapphire Reserve had just launched with the big 100,000 UR bonus. And they both signed up, each one of them. And I was like, yeah, let me know when your points hit. We can talk about how to transfer your miles and book your flights and Hyatt hotels and blah, blah, blah. And then I talked to her a couple months later. She's, oh yeah, it already worked. We booked through the portal. We get to fly out there for free and stay somewhere. Oh no, we just used the portal and cashed them in that way. I'm like, oh no, that's not how it's supposed to work. That's not how it's supposed to work.
You could have optimized better.
Could have optimized better. But they were thrilled. They saw it as, hey, we have free flights, and what could be better than that for their honeymoon? So we all have different expectations, and I think that's going to be a big dividing factor here. I've already seen interesting comments on both sides of the fence regarding this card. Some folks love the new features and opportunities. Other folks are talking about downgrading or canceling their card when the new annual fee hits. So everything else in this hobby, folks on both sides.
So October 26th, these new features activate. Some of these are based on a 6-month calendar period. You get January, February, March, April, May, and June for the first 6 months, and then July through December for the next 6 months. Many of these features will launch October 26th, so you have about 2 months to use them for the second half of 2025. Once again, the annual fee going up to $795 when your next anniversary date posts. And what are you going to get given the annual fee increase? You get the Edit hotel credit, $250 per 6 months. You need to stay 2 nights. This is similar to the American Express, now I did it, Fine Hotels and Resorts program, where they have these probably higher star luxury facing hotels. But in this case, you need to stay 2 nights and not just 1. So we'll see if we could find any properties that might be around $100 per night to get the most out of this credit and not be paying much out of pocket. But so far, it's looking pretty grim. So I imagine many listeners won't be using the Edit and this benefit, but maybe there'll be some opportunities, or some people have very friendly employers or reimbursements where they can stay with the Edit and get their money back.
That's always the dream, right? That we can use our cards for business expenses and then have someone else reimburse them for us. But it seems like that's fewer and fewer opportunities these days. But yeah, the Edit, certainly looking into that to see if this card might be a good fit for me or my P2.
Some business decisions for sure.
Yeah, I don't know that we're going to have to deploy, say, the phone army here, Justin. I think just the 2 phones will do, but we never know. Might need it. I don't know if P3 is quite ready for this. She's just turned 18 and probably going to start more on the lower end, like a good Discover It card, maybe a Chase Freedom card, and work our way up.
Or starting with the Chase Sapphire Preferred, given the very high annual fee. But more about the Reserve, another new benefit, Chase Sapphire Reserve exclusive tables. This is a $150 credit per 6 months. So you'll have this July through December, or for 2025, October 26th through December 31st. $150 credit. And I've seen many of these options. Again, Frequent Miler made a list of these. I was interested in the Las Vegas options. Hell's Kitchen is on there. Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen near Caesar's Palace. And I think there might be a play here to go to the gift shop. They do sell t-shirts, merchandise, souvenirs. So it might be possible to just raid the gift shop for $150, or maybe get something small to eat and add items to the bill. Oh, I got my entree, and can I add a few items to that on the same bill? We'll see how that plays out, or if you could just go to the gift shop and it codes as for this credit. It doesn't seem like you have to make a certain reservation or use a portal to book this. You could just swipe your card and a statement credit will come at a later time. Hell's Kitchen I thought that was very interesting. Some other options here, I'm not too familiar with all of these. Esther's Kitchen, I never heard of. Harlow Steakhouse and Bar, haven't heard of that. La Strega, new to me. Momofuku, I've heard that a few times, but I've never gone there. Nobu at Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas, expensive restaurant. Top of the World Restaurant at Stratosphere, or the Strat Hotel. And Vanderpump à Paris, or Paris. Vanderpump is interesting because there could be some stacking of Caesar's benefits there, that if you have the Diamond Plus or better status, you get your 4 comp drinks a day. So it could be interesting to use the $150 dining credit at Vanderpump at Paris and then get the 4 complimentary drinks as well. Unfortunately, Vanderpump at Flamingo does not appear to be on that list, and I really like the drinks there. So maybe you can get an expensive dinner. Maybe it's enough for 2 people at these restaurants. What do you think?
Yeah, I know you've sung the praises and shared some of the wonderful drinks at Vanderpump. Are there multiple Vanderpump locations, Justin, or is it just the Paris version?
There's also one at Caesar's Palace. They used to accept the diamond drink vouchers, but no longer. Vanderpump à Paris or Paris should accept those vouchers. So it should be possible to stack the Chase benefit and use the drink vouchers. They would charge the drinks to the same bill. You'd show your player's card and they would remove the drinks from that. Although who knows, with cashiers making up rules and other problems. So maybe you'd ask for that to be on a separate bill with the drinks. So of course we have complications here. We'll see how it plays out. But I'll probably be going to Hell's Kitchen and doing a combination of the gift shop plus food, if that works. Because I have so many outs in Vegas, especially with the phone army, as you mentioned, all these 20 off of 4-day dining credits with MGM and using MGM comps, BOGO rewards. So I'd rather eat with the My Vegas rewards and not use $150 towards food if I can get some merchandise and use it for personal use or give it as gifts. Then I think that would be a better use of the credit.
Yeah, I think anytime that you, like you said, you can stack things together, make it more valuable, make the trip more interesting or valuable is a great idea. And that certainly seems to be the case here. Some of us, those at least in the greater Philadelphia area, don't have to travel all the way to Vegas, although we probably should, let's be honest. There are some locations in or around Philadelphia that Frequent Miler has highlighted for us. Do you want to talk about them?
Yes. Can you read the list this time? That way you can deal with the
Oh, Justin, I wasn't prepared. Okay. Is this A. Kitchen? Is that like A. Ham? I'm not sure, but A Kitchen, maybe we'll just go with that. Dot is silent. High Street, Honeysuckle Provisions, Jean George's or Jean Georges, depending on, again, their pronunciation. Mon, Ogawa Sushi, and Capo Omakase. I can see why you gave me these. Sky High, that could be a joint cannabis opportunity there, so who knows. Tabachoy, we're going with that. Vernick Fish and Vetri La Cucina. Whew, that was a rough one, Justin. I would have prepared better had I known I was reading those.
Surprise. But options in Philly, maybe some of these restaurants sell merchandise. Maybe they sell gift cards as well. I've talked about using Resi credits, and at the restaurant Kalaya in Philadelphia, I'm able to add a gift card to the bill. So I make a small order and use the rest for a gift card rather than wailing out, is the phrase that we've used many times. Really, I think $150 is more than enough for me. 2 people, maybe, but I'd rather break this into several visits. So if you can do a staggering play where you could even just go in and get a $150 gift card and then use it across multiple visits, I think that'd be pretty nice. Or just do the combo of food and gift card or raid the gift shop. So you have options. I have never gone to these restaurants in Philadelphia, so I don't have reports on those. It could be some podcast research for future episodes. I've used my Chase Sapphire credit at this place that's hard to pronounce. And you have Mon, M-A-W-N, not to be confused with John, J-A-W-N, which is Philly slang for a thing.
Yeah, anything, Justin. John is anything. A place, a person, a thing, an event. That John.
So now we're at $150 every 6 months, so $300 a year on the dining credit. If you would value that same as cash, so I suppose some listeners would be going to restaurants and spending that money anyway. I wouldn't encourage doing that. Personally, when I go out to eat almost anywhere, I get water. I don't pay for drinks. So I'm not sure too many people are going to get extreme value from this or consider it worth $150. But maybe there are some ways to game it, like with gift cards and merchandise. Considering the other benefits, maybe that will put it over and this can be considered as gravy or fluff. We'll see.
The real question is, are any of these restaurants inside of a Hilton hotel, Justin? That's what we want to know.
Ooh.
That's what we want to know.
And are any on the Resi list as well?
Yeah, triple dip.
Lots of opportunities, perhaps, but I'm not sure that any of them are inside of a Hilton property, but it would be interesting if they were to use some Hilton credits at the same time. Okay, moving on, there is a StubHub credit. I think most listeners would find most value out of this. It's $150 every 6 months on that same schedule. So with the benefits going live October 26, 2025, you'll have November and December and part of October to use this. So StubHub, it's my understanding, it's just an online portal where you can buy tickets. You're not buying tickets directly from a location, but rather it's a third party, something like Ticketmaster. I've never used StubHub, but these are my quick appraisals of it. Was talking to past podcast guests, Eric and Bill Dickerson. They say that they go to an NHL game at least once a year. So they were already paying for tickets to go to an NHL game. So they'd get good value out of this credit. In a 2-player mode, they can go to 2 NHL games a year. If the tickets are about $80 each, the StubHub credit would cover it. Eric and Bill on the player 1 card for one time, and then the player 2 card for another time. So maybe good value out of the StubHub credit, especially if you're already going to sporting events, concerts, WWE, whatever it might be.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks could find some benefit from that. It's that time of year where I guess the NBA finals just ended. RIP Pacers. Sorry about that. Rough on my side. But baseball season's in full swing. Again, the NHL ended not too long ago. Summer League basketball will start up again here before too long, and then the NFL will be here before we know it. So it won't be long, and a lot of folks can use that. There's also concerts, right? So a number of folks I know, it's certainly not going to cover a Taylor Swift ticket, Justin, but maybe a Foo Fighters or something in the Hurdy Gurdy Travel portfolio would be better suited.
Oh, yes. Maybe Patty Gurdy comes to the United States. Cellar Darling returning with the Hurdy Gurdy. The band Ailstorm, they often feature Patty Gurdy, so you have lots of opportunity. Ailstorm, A-L-E, Ailstorm, not to be confused with Hailstorm.
It seems like it's a play on words. I like it.
Also get other benefits from the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Things remain like Visa Infinite protections. This is trip delay, trip cancellation, lost luggage reimbursement, things like that. You also get Chase Sapphire Lounge access. I found this quite valuable, especially in Philadelphia. I found the new Chase Sapphire Reserve Lounge much better than the Centurion Lounge and other options at the airport. Shout out to past podcast guest Justin Walter, who called the Delta Sky Club at Philadelphia the Sky Closet. Quite a small place. Centurion Lounges infamously crowded, usually. The Chase Sapphire Reserve Lounge in Philadelphia, very spacious. It was one of my first videos on the new Insta 360 camera I have on my Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast YouTube channel. Very spacious, custom menu with QR code ordering, arcade, facial, spa area. There's so much going on there. I really like the Sapphire Lounge. I've used it in Philadelphia and Boston and plan on using it many more times at both airports. That's a nice benefit to keep. There's also IHG Platinum status that you'll get from having the Chase Sapphire Reserve card. Not sure that will be giving you much. Some smaller benefits here that listeners may or may not use. Free subscription to Apple TV, free subscription to Apple Music, $10 a month Peloton credit. So I'll value the Peloton credit at $0. I won't be using that. And I have YouTube Premium through my Google Fi service. So I won't be using Apple Music, and I don't plan on using Apple TV. So we start it with some of the bigger benefits first, like the dining credit, the edit credit, and of course we have the classics like the lounge use. And it's also worth noting that the Chase Sapphire Reserve enables points transfer. So if you don't have a Sapphire card, personal or business, you're not able to transfer points to travel partners like Hyatt and airline programs. So I wonder, maybe people will keep the reserve for that reason, or maybe they just have an Inc. preferred to keep that transferability at a lesser annual fee. But it's looking pretty good that I'll keep the card through 2025 and then have to make a decision in 2026. But I'm looking at keeping it because of all the benefits.
Yeah, Justin, I think one thing we need to rewind on is your apparent lack of interest in Apple TV here. How are you going to watch Ted Lasso season 4? Come on now. This is critical. Ted Lasso seasons downloaded for your next trip where they may not have Wi-Fi or good in-flight entertainment. I think this is the next logical feel-good story, much like Breaking Bad. Maybe Breaking Bad wasn't exactly a feel-good story, but it was a good story. Ted Lasso, I think, is excellent. No, but hear what you're saying. I think for those folks that already have a Sapphire and are using many of the benefits, and hopefully they are to justify the current annual fee, that they're likely to keep it and continue to use it and benefit from some of these. Again, I know some of the challenges with 3X travel, moving to 4X just hotels and flights, for example. But I still think there's a lot of benefits there. To your point, I think the real question is, if you were starting at this new, what would you do? But did you already talk about the high spend bonuses, Justin? There's a little more there, a little more fat on that bone, a little more meat on that bone. I'm not sure the way to say it.
Some other opportunities, I think, for the more intermediate to advanced people in the audience. If you spend $75,000 on this card, I think it's in a card member year, you get IHG Diamond Elite status, higher IHG status. You get A-list status with Southwest. You get a $500 Southwest flight credit, a $250 Shops at Chase credit. So multiple credits here. If you're staying with IHG, you're going to probably get some benefits. A-list status, relevant if you're flying Southwest. This $500 flight credit, not sure how that works. It might compel you to fly Southwest. The Shops at Chase credit, I imagine that's going to be a very expensive catalog of travel-related items. So some benefits, especially if you're going to be spending a lot in creative ways with the 3X dining. You'll probably get up to that $75,000, assuming you have high credit limit, and keep maxing that credit limit each statement or most statements. So at the end of the day, the math is an increase in annual fee of $245 for lots of benefits. So if you can justify that $245, perhaps with the $150 from StubHub, the dining credits, the benefits that you're already getting, probably a keeper. But we probably don't have to decide until 2026, assuming that our renewal is on a favorable date.
For those folks that already have the card, like you said, you have some time to test it out before you have to pay the increased annual fee. See if some of these benefits are of interest to you. See if you want to be a true American, Justin, and watch Ted Lasso like you're supposed to. I don't know what to say about this. But yeah, I think there's a number of benefits here. You said most listeners have the Chase Sapphire Reserve. I would bet, and I do like a good bet, I would bet that most listeners do not. In fact, I do not. Half of the podcast hosts here today do not have the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Yeah,
Ooh.
True story. Only the preferred for both myself and P2. Again, that allows us to transfer points earned on other cards into various hotels and airlines where we see the most benefit, and at a much reduced annual fee. Some of these additional benefits, people may derogatorily call this a expansion of the coupon book that we've seen from Amex. Ding, that's the third time. And some of that is true. I think the other thing that these credit card companies and banks have figured out is they don't want to front load all the benefits with an even bigger sign-up bonus. Instead, they're spacing them out and allowing folks or encouraging folks to use them throughout the year, which of course encourages them to find value in that card continuously and hopefully sign back up for that card or pay that annual fee when it comes around next time, because season 4 of Ted Lasso is coming around, or I have that trip I'm going to book to Florida on Southwest, or whatever that might be. I think it really does depend on what you're doing and how you're using it, and do it because it's going to work for you, not necessarily because it's the hot new card. There will be a hot new card next week or next month or next year. Probably all of those things, to be fair.
Yes, so it's a bit of a math problem and keeping track of the benefits, using the benefits. And if you decide to downgrade, you can downgrade to the Chase Sapphire Preferred, keep your points transferability. So there's no need to cancel. I would definitely wait for the next annual fee to hit and then make a decision. It's also worth noting that Chase allows you to use points to offset the annual fee for the pay yourself back feature at 1.25 cents per point, maybe even higher at certain points. So that's an option. So you have lots of choices. But we also have a listener question. This comes from my Subscribe Star supporter, Moni. For those who contribute on Subscribe Star, you get access to special perks, including asking podcast guests your questions. So we have this question. I've heard rumors of pop-up jail like American Express with new Chase cards. Have you heard this rumor, and what do you think of it, Darren?
I'm just thankful, Justin, that you didn't ask me to pronounce more restaurant names. That would have been the hardest question yet. No, but I appreciate the opportunity. Similar to Amex, there is a potential pop-up now. And that stems from a change where previously Chase would not approve you for a card if you were not eligible for the sign-up bonus. And now they are. You can get a card even if you are not eligible to the sign-up bonus. And you get the same pop-up. I don't know if it's pop-up jail per se, but it is a same pop-up where it says you have been previously held this card or had a bonus associated with this card, and so are not eligible for the bonus. Do you still want to continue your application? I like this. I think it provides a lot of flexibility. So one, you can get to that stage and then back out. And I don't believe it results in a hard pull in your credit, just like on Amex. And then two, maybe there is a reason why you'd want a card that you may not be eligible for the sign-up bonus. But as for example, you have a Chase Sapphire Preferred, you just got it. Again, the 48-month rule seems to be out the door, but maybe there's some other rule that Chase has substituted that we are maybe fully not aware of yet. You're going to apply and get the Chase Sapphire Reserve card because you love all these benefits. And maybe you don't necessarily want to upgrade your Chase Sapphire Preferred. I don't know, Justin. It's a story I'm trying to figure out here. But for some reason, if you wanted this card and weren't eligible, you may still apply for it. And that maybe is even more important maybe for some of the co-branded cards where maybe someone wants to apply for a card to get the benefits of status or a free hotel night or one of those things. And does it make sense for them to apply without the sub and still get some of those benefits? So I like it. I know it's frustrating for some people, but the alternative is you don't get the card at all. And I prefer the option to get the card with no sign-up bonus compared to not getting the card at all.
Yes, it would be useful, I think, in a point of no return situation where maybe you're 424, that you've had 4 personal credit cards in the last 24 months, and you're thinking, okay, I'm just going to get one card with Chase and then apply for many other cards. I made an Apparama YouTube video for today. I applied for, I believe, 7 credit cards in the same day, so I'm past 524. So those that are thinking, okay, this is going to be my last shot, if they get a pop-up message, they might decide to just accept the card anyway with no sign-up bonus. Or maybe there's a possibility of those who are over 524 with no looking back who can still get Chase cards, especially those that have the lower annual fees. And I'm seeing a screenshot here. This is the new Chase pop-up. It says, a quick update about your application. It looks like you're not eligible for a bonus on this credit card. This can happen if you've already held or received a bonus for this credit card. Current holders of personal Chase Sapphire cards are also ineligible. We haven't done a credit check yet, so there will be no impact to your score if you don't continue. Double negative there, confusing. How would you like to proceed? And then it gives an option, continue without the bonus or cancel my application, no impact to credit score. So you get the 2 options, and then it says on the bottom, if you don't make a choice, we'll withdraw your application. So if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice, Darren.
I think that's good life advice, Justin. Even if you're not choosing something, you're choosing it. If you're not changing, you're choosing what you have today. That's fine. Some people are happy with that.
You might have free will.
That's right.
Free will, Darren. That's
right.
The song.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you outlining that. I think I'm in favor, right? Again, I like more flexibility. I like more options compared to fewer. So this is a change in Chase's approach to how that's been handled in the past, and I'm all for it.
And maybe these benefits can provide some opportunity if people are planning on downgrading anyway. Say January rolls around, you knock out these once every 6-month credits early in January, the annual fee comes up in January or February, and then you downgrade to a Chase Sapphire Preferred, and you got the benefits without paying the annual fee. I wonder how the upgrading and downgrading games might turn out, as we've done this with American Express, definitely, where we tried to apply, upgrade at the end of the year, use the benefits, and then downgrade. So maybe there's a situation where you use the benefits in December, you use the benefits in January, and then the annual fee posts, and then you downgrade, not having to pay the difference in the annual fee. So perhaps there are some opportunities like that. Although I wonder how it's going to be going from the CSP to the CSR and back. Are they going to allow that multiple times? Maybe, okay, I use my benefits in January, the benefits post, then I downgrade to the CSP. Then in July, I upgrade, use the benefits, and then downgrade again. I wonder how that might work.
Probably not as well as we would, is my guess, Justin, but we don't know. You got to give us a shot, Chase.
Give us a shot, the situation.
Yeah, like we hope you don't know the situation as much as we know the situation. We just want a shot here. Yeah, it's an interesting concept about, or an idea about upgrading, downgrading. Certainly, like you say, that's something we have done quite a bit in the Amex world. And actually, I just got a upgrade offer on a Amex Personal Gold for $50K to upgrade to a Personal Platinum. I pretty much maxed out my $25K grocery spend on that card anyway. So that was an easy upgrade decision for me. Good business decision, Justin. And yeah, I'll take that $50K after $2 or $3K spend and the benefits that also accrue on that as far as hotels and airline credits and some of those accessories.
Some options there. Now, is the card a keeper in 2025? I think so, especially if your annual fee posted earlier in the year. But if your annual fee happens to post in July or August, then maybe you don't want to pay that annual fee just yet. You want to wait and see how the benefits play out for others. 2026, then I think we have more of a decision. Will we pay the annual fee, especially if it posts early in the year? If it posts in January, I think that's pretty difficult because you don't get as much time to use these benefits. I think it's going to depend on the month. Will they offer retention offers? Classically, Chase has not, but it will be interesting to hear how those phone calls go of, I've had this card for years. You removed the 3x travel that I was using a lot, and a lot of the benefits aren't relevant to my lifestyle. I don't live in a big city. I'm not traveling as much to these big cities, so I don't find much value in the benefits. Would you offer a statement credit on the card or waive the annual fee? We'll see what happens with that.
And that's a good question. How much more is Chase willing to change in their approach to incentivize and then retain customers? It's a well-known idea in the business world that it takes a lot more work to attract a new customer than it does retain a customer. So are they willing to throw a little extra benefit at you when it comes to the annual fee and discounting that in some way?
Again, the math is a $245 increase. So what might that look like? 245 divided by 12. America loves math, an extra $20 a month approximately. So if you think $20 a month is worth it, I think it can be, especially if you're going to Las Vegas, especially if we could find value out of this hotel benefit, especially if we're going to use the StubHub credits for things that we would already do. I think there's a lot going for this card. Maybe it's a pill that people don't want. If you had the option to keep it as it was or take the new annual fee, I think a lot of people would keep it as it was. But there's also that $75K spend goal. We all like high spend goals. If you're an intermediate to advanced listener, that you're spending a lot in creative ways, and we can get these benefits. I've never flown Southwest, but if they're going to give me $500 to do it or otherwise offset a $500 flight, that'll incentivize me to do that. That could be an interesting experience, and maybe get something for that shops at Chase credit. Maybe I can get some expensive earbuds or clothing, maybe better than the Saks credits with American Express anyway.
Oh, the Saks credits. I have PTSD from those, Justin. It's like $50 and they just keep getting worse, and I keep trying to use them and I keep getting worse. So speaking of upgrading to the Personal Platinum card, I guess I need to find a way to earn through some of those. What we didn't talk about, and we're not going to talk about on the show, is the Chase Sapphire Reserve business card that was also launched at the same time. So maybe we can talk about that at another time. But if for those folks that are chasing sign-up bonuses only, that may be something to consider.
Yes, that's an alternative. As usual, the answer to everything is more credit cards. So hopefully we won't be resting all of our hopes on the one ship of the Chase Sapphire Reserve, that we can use many credit cards, get that travel multiplier on other cards, get lounge access perhaps on other cards. I think I'll be keeping it. I think I will pay the $7.95 annual fee or the effective $495 annual fee with that $300 flexible credit that I'd be spending anyway. We'll see how things go in the future.
And the nice thing is you have some time to decide, right? So that's the benefit of current card holders, especially ones that annual fees will be hitting between now and October. You have the reduced annual fee, and then pretty much the remainder of that year, try out the benefits. If you don't like them, like you said, you can downgrade or cancel the card.
And for those that travel more like I do, I'll be using the lounges a lot, and I certainly get value there. So I'm looking forward to the lounge use for sure. But for those that maybe travel once or twice a year, it's probably not an easy keep decision. So you, again, have options. And if it means downgrading to the CSP, I can't be hating on that, especially for people that don't travel as much or don't have the lounges in the airports that they frequent. So yes, we can get into the Sapphire business card at another time, but we're coming towards the end of this episode. Any other thoughts, Darren, your personal strategy going forward?
That's a good question, Justin. I'm also probably looking at an Apparama here lately in the next week or so. And I'm considering adding one of these Chase Reserve cards to my options. I am at 524. My P2 would be under 524. So I may try to do both. The higher sign up bonus, but the much higher spend is certainly as daunting for the other card. And the number of credits here, I think, would be challenging for us to keep track of and use across two cards. It may be that we decide to do one of each and see how we get along. Yeah, I'm interested what listeners are thinking about doing. How many currently have the Chase Reserve card, Justin?
Ooh, as time goes on, I think the number will go down. But at the moment, I think it'd be more than half. I think more than half would have the CSR, although yes, some just held on to the CSP or they were within the first year, so they couldn't upgrade the card. Some people got unfortunate. And one thing about this Chase pop-up is I think staying under 524 could be less valuable if you could still get cards over 524. And there might be a scenario where people wait to go under 524. They go to apply for a card, they're under 524, and they get the pop-up saying they're not eligible for the bonus. So that would really stink if you waited 6 months, 9 months or longer, hoping that you'd get a sign-up bonus, and then you just find out that you're not going to get the sign-up bonus. So I'm not looking back. I'm not looking at ever being under 524. I applied for many valuable credit cards today, got approved for, I believe, 5 of them. So it's adding 5 to the 524 count. 2 of them went to pending. So LOL 24 should be the future.
Yeah, and certainly, and I know you and I have talked a lot about this, but you'll find more value in those 5 sign-up bonuses than this 1 sign-up bonus. So you certainly have a portfolio of Chase cards already that you use. You talked about the Chase Ink Cash that you use, I'm sure, at the many Staples deals that are ongoing. And then the Chase Sapphire Reserve to allow you to transfer those points and to use them at various airlines and hotels. Hyatt's are being a popular one.
Right now, according to the Travel Freely app, I am currently 2024. It says I'll be under 524 in 2 years and 7 days. So no turning back here.
You will be under 524 in more than 24 months. Got it.
Yes, the way it works is based on the start of the month. So I'd have to wait those 7 or 8 days or whatever it is to get into the next month. So it's funny. It's even over 524 plus LOL 24 plus. So I'm looking boldly into the future. Exciting times. The answer to everything, once again, more credit cards.
Absolutely.
And to quickly say, I have that Apparama video that people can see the cards that I was approved for. I got the FNBO Amtrak Guest Rewards Preferred MasterCard. That's quite a mouthful. That's the 40K sign-up bonus. Many benefits, including a class upgrade. So you can ride Acela, one of the better trains, one of the better cars. You get a companion pass, you get lounge access, you can earn status, and the points are quite valuable with Amtrak. I got Affinity Federal Credit Union Cash Rewards Visa, some more 2x grocery capacity, the Verizon Visa card, 4x grocery, a decent sign-up bonus on that, and the Affinity card. I'm so late in the game that I'm getting these more obscure cards. I got the Virgin Atlantic card with Synchrony. that has a lot of high spend goals for free night certificates, airfare upgrades, and much more. 2X Grocery as well. And the cardless Qatar or Qatar Airways Privilege Club Visa Infinite, automatically giving you status for various lounge access and much more, and a high sign-up bonus on the cardless card. And then the MGM Iconic credit card, I promised I'd apply for that, of course. That went to pending. And then I got the Bread Cashback card, also went to pending.
Yeah, sounds like a successful Apparama. And again, I know you space these out about 6 months to ensure that the new credit inquiries don't dramatically impact your credit score, and a variety of other ways that you ensure your credit score stays high to allow you to continue to use and leverage your credit for these sorts of opportunities. Congratulations, and hopefully some of those pending options come through for you.
Yes, and for the doubters out there, you hear all these things about applying for too many cards is going to ruin your credit. You're not going to get approved, blah, blah, blah. I don't think the doubters will be listening, although they might be big fans and listen to everything, but I'm still getting approved. So I haven't ruined my credit, still getting more credit, more cards, more opportunities, still going strong in 2025, starting with all of this around 2019. So 6 years of winning.
Yeah, congratulations on your continued success here, Justin. And again, always happy to do these podcasts with you so we can share some of your experience and knowledge with the listeners. Of course, again, listeners, if you have the opportunity to comment or tell Justin whether you do or do not have a Chase Sapphire Reserve card, I'd love to win that. I'd love to win that bet.
Do or do you not maintain a phone army? Will or will not you be in Las Vegas for 2025 Zork Fest?
There you go. Speaking of that, what upcoming travel plans do you have, Justin?
I will be going to Boston once again in about a week, and then flying to Amsterdam, staying in Amsterdam for a few nights, and then going on a Holland America comp cruise, seeing fjords, difficult to pronounce fjords, and multiple stops in Norway. So looking forward to that. That's the Win Las Vegas status match, currently dead deal, but I status matched when I was able to, staying 2 nights. That gave me a complimentary cruise, some free play, and food credits. So lots of winning with Win. Looking forward to Amsterdam. Taking so many cruises, I'm looking for new routes. So that leads me to fly to Europe.
That sounds excellent and great timing. This hot weather that's moving through most of the country, but certainly the Philadelphia area here as well. So you can escape that heat and head up north and check out the fjords.
Hopefully an air-conditioned ship. Adequately air-conditioned ship.
Oh boy, yeah, that would be rough. Yeah, not much going on with us. We've just returned from a long weekend at Delaware beaches that we take every year with my kids and some of their friends. And P2 is heading to California for a work trip here next week, into this week and into next week. And then holidays will be upon us, and then we'll be off to Greece here before too long. Another question for the listeners, if anyone knows a good place to park. I know, Justin, you did the park and fly opportunity at Newark. We're flying out of JFK. I think we'll likely be parking at the Jamaica AirTrain station, but if other folks have other ideas, we would be open to them. I should ask ChatGPT, Justin.
Oh, and maybe you'll get the FNBO Amtrak card. There might be a possible train ride, so you don't have to deal with the parking. That's some of my future plans.
I think it would if it was 1 or 2 of us, but 5 of us, those Amtrak tickets, even with the points, gets a little pricey. So easier to drive up and less complicated to get home after a long flight. So we'll probably do that. But yeah, the FNBO Amtrak card is on my list of Apparama cards to apply for.
Very good. Interesting. I got pending with the MGM Iconic, but then I was approved for the Amtrak, but certainly better than denied and denied or pending or all the other negative combinations.
Maybe they just don't believe that one person can love MGM credit cards this much, Justin, and they're confused. And I know there was some question about whether you can have both the original, the OG MGM card and the MGM Iconic. So hopefully we'll find out soon.
It's destiny to have both. I must for the show and a lot of other reasons.
It's for the show.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone, and stay tuned for future episodes. Some closing announcements. Ticket sales for Zorkfest 2025, a miles points and gambling event, are live at zorkfest.travelzork.com. I hope to see you at Zorkfest 2025 in Las Vegas, December 5th through the 7th at M Resort Casino Hotel. Make sure to bring your Chase Sapphire Reserve to use your dining credits in Las Vegas. I'll also be speaking at Chicago Seminar's Hyatt Regency O'Hare event, November 7th through the 9th, 2025. Use promo code Hurdy Gurdy, one word, when buying a ticket to support me. Also join me from October 24th through the 26th, 2025 for Chicago Seminar's Holiday Inn, Chicago Oak Brook. Use promo code I must have a promo code 20 for $20 off tickets. Visit meetup.com/Philly miles and points to RSVP for monthly Greater Philadelphia travel. Credit miles and points meetups I host in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. The next meetups, July 13th, 2025. Find a link in the show notes. For more content between podcast episodes, follow Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast on Facebook and X. Follow Justin Vacula on Instagram. Subscribe to Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast on YouTube for daily content, including travel videos, podcast clips, community, and posts. Search Hurdy Gurdy Travel on subscribestar.com or become a channel member on YouTube to support my efforts, starting at the $5 a month tip jar level. Receive special perks at higher subscriber levels, including private one-on-one conversations and asking podcast guests your questions. Find links and more at hurdygurdytravel.com. I'm now an affiliate with Card Pointers. Use my affiliate link, cardpointers.com/hurdygurdytravel, for a discount on annual and lifetime plans. Card Pointers has a great app and browser tools to automatically activate credit card linked offers from various banks to maximize your savings. The website udio.com created the podcast intro and outro music. It's not me singing. AI features of the website Descript helped edit and improve audio quality. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.
Travel at low cost with points and miles. Credit card rewards bring the smiles. Many adventures, tales to be told. Make and save money, the world will unfold. Fight the war on happiness, pick up the gold. Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast breaks the mold.